Step inside, take a seat, feel the magic in the air. Cards on the table, let the spirits take you there. Aeson's got the insight, Joe's teching up the show. Sip that truth, honey, let the mystic wisdom flow. Oh, ooh, it's the Sidekick Coffee Shop. To future sights, we're spilling secrets left and right. So grab your cup, let's take a ride on this cosmic caffeinated guide. Yun, ooh, it's the Sidekick Coffee Shop.
Good evening and welcome to the Sidekick Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course I'm sitting down with the Techie with the mostest, Techie Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing well. How are you this evening?
Doing pretty good, You know, it's my second day of day shift. We're going to try out King's recommended schedule and see what happens with that. So yes, you may find me more during the day. Tomorrow we open up the private schedule to being day shift also, instead of just in the evenings. So that'll be interesting to watch. Let's see. What about you?
Well, I'm still trying to get it caught up on a few things, but yeah. No, we're kind of trying to rock and roll. Yeah, we've got some new processes going on, and so
we do.
Yeah, the first video version of the weekly guide went out yesterday.
Yep. You can find that on the TikTok, the Clapper, or the Reel. Hello, Miss Brenda. How are you? Yeah, those are out. We really want to thank our baristas for making choices there.
Yes. So, yeah. It just doesn't feel like Tuesday. It feels like it should be like Friday already.
I know, right? Well, we've done so much today that is not like psychic related, but maybe psychic entertainment related.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is related, but it's tangentially related because it is what helps feed the psychic network beast. Of you must have computer activity. So lots of things have been going up in Second Life.
Yeah.
You
know, a lot of things are up in Second Life. A lot of things are going on in Second Life. Built a fountain, done some administrative teleporting setup. It's the last week of the season. My page, I'm going to probably make it to the championship, and that's streamed on YouTube, and I will be sharing that with the Patreons if you want to come watch the Chimera fight. So that will be it's not Patreon exclusive, it's just that's going to be a direct Patreon share. So you can sit there and watch the battles live. And let's see what else. Finished some club work, got the temple built on Fire Island.
We did. We got some welcome center improvements going on.
We did. Like, I really like the welcome center. It did really well.
Even if you did steal someone's office.
Well, it just made more sense because my pager button was by that door.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it made perfect sense. I suddenly realized what you'd done, and I was like, yep, no, I get it. I get what he did there. Yep.
So now I have an office to manage the sim and a reading office to manage the readings, which you can get a reading from me in Second Life that affects your real life. But but yeah, so like there's a lot of new things going on, a lot of new things going about. And that does feed the beast. It's my stress relief, and it tends to be really like fun. And it's really interesting seeing a virtual world develop itself as it is. You know, so there's
A lot
that.
of things have been going in on that.
Yeah, it has been. And, you know, we're looking at other opportunities there. But then we have the, you know, what's going on in our world, and we're choosing to not talk about a lot of them, but we are going to talk about possibly having a new pope.
Yes. I hope this is
Started the
how it's how it.
yes.
All right.
Hopefully,
So,
he'll take a new pope name.
yeah. Pizzaballa, 60, once offered himself in exchange for hostages. Now the cardinal could be the next pope. An expert tells people that Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa was quite close to Pope Francis and is seen as being an extremely skilled diplomat.
Mm-hmm.
So, as the world waits for Pope Francis's successor to be chosen, some say Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa is a legitimate contender. The 60-year-old Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem has lived in the city since 1990, navigating a politically charged region and three major religions with grace, according to the New York Times. Although many people may have only heard of him recently, for one, his last name has inspired a number of memes. He previously made news when he offered himself up in exchange for children taken hostage by Hamas after their October 2023 attack on southern Israel. At the time, he had been a cardinal for just 2 weeks. Quote, anything if this can lead to freedom and bring those children back home, no problem, he said while speaking with Vatican reporters. On my part, absolute willingness. Reflecting on the reaction during a subsequent interview with CNN, Pizzaballa alleged that what he said that day was very naive and noted that his comments were not universally well received. Why Israeli children and not for the Palestinian children? My answer was also for them. I'm ready, no problem, he told the outlet. So yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks before Francis's death on April 21st, the cardinal spoke more about the war that has brought widespread devastation to Gaza. Quote, every man of faith has questions, including myself, said Pizzaballa. According to CNN, you are so frustrated from the situation and you ask, where are you? To God, where are you? Then I come to myself and I understand the question should be, where is man now? What have we done with our humanity? We cannot consider God guilty of what we are doing, he said, according to CNN. So, yeah, throughout his lifetime, Pope Francis was outspoken in his criticism of Israel, called for an end to the ongoing violence in Gaza, and in a final gift, sent his Pope Mobile to serve as a health clinic for children in Gaza.
I think he would be a good pope. I like him. There's a few other rumored, people, but I like this one wins it the most.
I mean, I'm kind of interested we're not seeing other candidates, like, because I kind of thought the way this was starting is that, like, this is the front runner and here's some other contenders,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that may be the way it is like, here's the choice. Everyone make the choice. We all agree about the choice. And that was the way it was with Francis. Now, Benedict had a few front runners with him.
Yeah, usually it's a bigger group.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right,
I'm not
but,
saying it's like hundreds, but it's a short list.
Yeah.
But it's usually a little more than just like one or two. It's
Right.
As we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Is usually it's not a very like it's a short list, but it's not like that short.
Right.
It's like, here you go.
Mhm.
But it seems like that may be where it's going.
Yeah.
Though, wouldn't that make him one of the younger popes
It
in
would.
of modern popes?
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
so yeah.
Yeah, it
Um,
would make him a younger pope. It would also make him a very progressive pope because of his views on a lot of things. He is a very much more progressive cardinal. So that could be taking the church in a whole different direction.
mhm.
Hmm.
He's definitely been well received for like his history.
Hmm.
So he grew up in poverty in northern Italy. He has developed a reputation for his kindness to the poor and his ability to build connections between peoples. While he isn't based in the Vatican, his respect for traditional aspects of church practice have softened the perspective of some conservatives, the Times report.
Hmm. Right.
So he seems to be sitting pretty well situated,
Right.
a little more moderate, but acceptable to the more conservative.
Right.
So um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's definitely in the
In the running.
Goldilocks hopes.
Right.
Uh, and
I
he is
I
noted
think
as one of the most experienced people in the church in issues regarding the Middle East. So
right, which
that
is
has to be
needed right
important.
now.
Yeah.
And I think that it'll be definitely um, a different era for the church. What I find interesting is I remember when Benedict made Pope, he was supposedly the last Pope. We're now up to two more popes. You're predicting bad?
I don't think the predictions go
No, it isn't.
like maybe the predictions on popes are not
Right. Not good
not
in
really your
general.
forte. Like, stop predicting
Yeah, try
popes.
predicting something else. Like you also predicted, 2012, and that was ridiculous too.
Oh,
So it's like whatever. All right, I'm gonna give a trigger warning before we move on to this next one. We are talking about self-editing. If that affects you, you may need to click off.
yes, of the unaliving variety. So
Correct.
just to clarify.
Yes.
All right, so Sister Wives Janelle Brown recalls undergoing big job of getting Garrison's house ready after his death. During a new episode of Sister Wives, the TLC star has a candid conversation with her sister Carrie about the aftermath of her late son's sudden death. So yeah, Janelle Brown is opening up about the aftermath of her son Garrison's tragic death. In a May 4th episode of Sister Wives, Janelle has an emotional conversation with her sister Carrie in her new home in North Carolina. While Carrie begins by asking her sister if she feels like she's getting settled after her move, the conversation shifts to Garrison, Janelle's son, who died by suicide in March 2024. Quote, do you feel like you're getting settled in? Does this feel like home? Carrie asks her sister following her move from Flagstaff, Arizona. Janelle responds, yeah, I love the mountains, but this is good. When Carrie asks how Janelle's other son Gabriel is doing, Janelle says candidly, we are starting to have a lot more frank conversations about mental health before adding he's doing okay.
Right.
During the episode, the Brown family recalls learning the news that Garrison, whom Janelle shares with ex Cody Brown, died after Gabriel, his younger brother, found him in his apartment. In the same scene with her sister, Janelle then notes, now I have the big job of getting his house ready and all that stuff, referring to the Flagstaff property where Garrison lived. Carrie responds, well, with closing the house and the kids moving out and selling everything, that kind of closes that chapter. As both
Hmm.
sisters appear to get emotional, Janelle starts to say, we got home from the property the other day, but trails off as she begins to choke up. With tears in her eyes, her sister adds, yeah, our Gare Bear, you know it's going to take some time, right? In a confessional style clip, Janelle explains that the grief over her son's death sometimes catches her off guard, but she's grateful to be in North Carolina surrounded by the mourning. In North Carolina during the mourning process. Sometimes it catches you at a more raw moment for sure, she says. I'm glad that I'm here now versus still in Flagstaff. Earlier in the episode, Garrison's older sister, Madison Brush, and her husband.
Did you freeze on me, baby? Anyway, the episode really talked a lot about the crossing
of Flagstaff. Oh, sorry. I don't know where it trailed off, but earlier in the episode, Garrison's older sister, Madison Brush, and her husband, Caleb Brush, revealed that they had previously urged Garrison to move out of Flagstaff to be closer to where they live in North Carolina. Quote, I was trying to get him to move out here, Madison said during a confessional style interview. And so every step that we get closer to it, we talked a lot about that. We almost had him here too, Caleb added of his brother-in-law. He was almost coming, to which Madison concluded, I think he was just so deep in.
Mm-hmm.
So the article finishes by pointing out, if you or someone you know is considering suicide, please contact the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988, text strength to the crisis text line at 741741, or go to 988lifeline.org. I always want to make sure.
Yes, please do that.
There's resources.
There is resources. He was suffering from alcoholism. There are resources for that. But what I did find they done decent on was, and it was surprising, they were actually forming. It was a filming weekend, so Mary was actually filming when she got the call. So they captured that. I do think that they done a good job at not glorifying it, which was a wonderful.
Yeah, that's it, and definitely TLC should be commended for not turning it into like its own gory episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would, low hanging fruit. You can make some. I don't want to call it good TV, but good money from TV. By exploiting situations like that. And so it's really nice to see any network, especially one that has been so ratings hungry, take the higher road on that one and let it.
Right, and do it better. And a lot of people were saying they didn't show a lot of Garrison. I don't think it would have done good for them to show a lot of Garrison pictures or photos or past videos. Like, I don't think it would have been good for it.
I think that's one of those moments of just handle it as it occurs organically. Do not try to make it a sole focus or turn it into let's release all the footage we have. And exploit people's tragedy and pain for money.
Well, not only for money, but for ratings and for this. Like, there's a lot of people that will not watch this episode, and that's understandable if they choose not to watch this episode.
Yeah. But or a bit of a hat tip to TLC for their hand.
Yes, like they done very well with that. All right, so you've got me some psychic Reddits built up. Let's take a look at them.
All right, is my aunt's psychic that good, or is she snooping on my medical records? Long story short, my aunt is a medical doctor in the same hospital system I am a patient. She is claiming her psychic told her something about my medical history that is very specific. Think blood work that came back with concerning low levels of something. The psychic went as far to name that the specific something, which for the record is true. But I have not disclosed this to anyone as I don't want to sound a potential false alarm to something without getting all the facts. Now, I am a believer, but I am curious to hear people's opinions. Is this possible that something can be identified that is this specific about someone, me, the psychic has not had access to? Or do I need to investigate a possible issue of my aunt accessing my medical records and using her psychic as a means to open up that dialogue with me? What do you think?
I think you need to investigate your records being viewed by the doctor for multiple reasons. One, we can't get that specific. Two, when I mean that specific, we're not going to go, oh, you're low on vitamin C, or you're low on iron, or you're low on this. Nobody gets that specific, especially when it is a third-party exchange. And this is a big debate about reading third parties. People you do not have a connection with.
Well, yeah, there's a few issues here that are just like technical professional ones. Like first is
Right.
third-party reading, which is just generally don't do that. Don't do that. As a professional standard, don't do that. But more to the point, doesn't this start to borderline into medical advice and
It
try
does.
to diagnose a condition?
Correct.
And it's kind of, I don't know how much of a gray area it creates when it's not direct advice, because this would not be, the aunt's medical condition, but is a discussion about
Right.
a third party. So does that necessarily violate then, or is that? I mean, if it occurred, because I'm kind of with you. I don't think it occurred.
No.
I think this is being used as a kind of a setup,
Scapegoat.
scapegoat setup, whatever, a means
Right.
to say, well, my psychic said.
Yeah.
It's
Chemical bullshit.
medical records.
Right. Like, we'll call bullshit. I'll call bullshit one, unless they are medical intuitive, which I think there's only like 20 certified medical intuitives in the U.S. that is allowed to give a diagnosis. And then even then you're informed you have to go check with your doctor. No, especially not third party.
Though I would say that the other part of this that is additionally concerning. If you're gonna ring that bell on your aunt, realize once you ring it, there's no unringing it.
Right.
It's a pretty ugly bell to ring.
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying don't do it. That's not my point. But my point is, I would really consider that long and hard.
Right.
Because while it's inappropriate, the consequences for doing it, I would hope that your aunt has weighed very carefully, because that's not a bell you want to ring in the medical profession.
Right. And that's not a bell you want to ring too often. But you can definitely put a passcode on your chart that they have to get your permission to review your chart, because she's not connected to the chart.
Yeah, should not be a patient in any which way. Like, there should be no patient-provider relationship. So if that's what's occurred, then yeah, many things have gone wrong here, and the least of which is a concern you need to have for the psychic.
Right.
Now, if the psychic did perform the reading.
Right.
That's almost worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That would be even more concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to wonder if maybe it's a 1-2 combo.
Right.
As in, there's not exactly a total lie,
Right.
but I don't think it's the total truth either. I'm thinking it's probably like how many bad actors in a bunch.
Right.
That I think it was a non-specific.
Mm-hmm.
That like here's my theory. Is that the aunt did talk to her psychic. The psychic said, "Oh, it's probably something not that major.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deficiency. Like they'll find it in blood work. She'll be fine."
Right.
And then
Well, how obsessed? Like, how obsessed?
what do you mean? How upset? I'm not following.
Obsessed that the aunt has to be with you to be asking about it during a psychic reading. Like, it's
Or
not something
concerned.
that anyone's going to be learned out.
Well, or just that it's
Right.
one of the concerns.
Right.
And it's been a repetitive. But my point that I was actually making was I think that reading aspect was very generic if that actually even occurred.
Mm-hmm.
And then the aunt went digging through the medical record for blood work to see what, if anything, would be considered low or deficient,
Right.
and then confabulated the two together
Right.
and started this conversation. So basically used the psychic as pretext.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the only way I think that there's like any real truth to the idea of this is what the psychic told me. And
Right.
it's like, oh, no.
Right.
And if it's not direct at records access, I'd say someone went and had a conversation they shouldn't have had.
Right.
That may not be 100% unethical, but it's not 100% ethical.
Right.
One of those, like, between colleagues, that information should have stayed.
Right.
And it's now come back to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying that's the other part of this, is it may not just be your aunt. Because I kind of doubt your aunt would be dumb enough to go like, here's my credentials. And, just so
Right.
there may be layers into this.
Very much so. Anyhow, it's unethical. Should not have occurred. Would be telling aunt to stay the fuck out of my business.
Yes.
All right, so let's take on these next two controversial posts.
All right. So first up, we've got a rookie question. Oh, 1 second. So, hello, everyone. I have a question. If someone repeatedly gets readings on me, would that affect my energy field or mood in any way, even if they get readings out of good intentions?
Yes, it will slow down your movement. It will slow down your decision making and your decision choices.
Now, see, there's a little debate here.
Okay.
So by comments of which there are not many on this one, like it starts out with nope, goes to I wouldn't think so, and no, people just doing readings off of you wouldn't affect you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the current consensus on the comments.
Right.
But we've talked about this before, is that and I guess maybe a good question here is it going to make a difference?
Right.
If we're talking about like a more general reading or a more specific reading?
If we're talking about a very specific reading,
Like you're trying to figure out when you're gonna like third party calls in or someone calls in to ask a third party question and gets really specific about when are they going to meet Mr. Right, when are they getting married.
yeah, see, that's not what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
If someone keeps calling in about Joe and when he's going to call them, chat with them, whatever, that energy exchange, meaning I'm going and watching Joe's life going on and I'm watching their life going on and finding when the energy collides, and you have like, I don't know, 80 people doing that, there's going to be a slowdown. Because think about it, if you felt 80 people around you, you're not going to be that happy.
No, probably not. Yeah.
You're not,
Okay.
you know, it's like,
I was wondering, like, what may be influencing the interpretation here that no, it's not going to do anything for you,
well,
as in it's not going to cause anything.
right. And I think that is propaganda, not fully understanding the energy exchanges and readings, readers just not having the experience that they should. There's a lot there.
Or do you think that readers are starting, or maybe this is just a poor sample set?
Mhm.
But maybe as an add-on question, do you think that some readers either that it really is they don't know what they're talking about, or is it no, they're actively choosing to perpetuate the idea of just call and ask about anything. I'll help you with anything. Just
Right.
keep calling. Just keep calling. We'll just keep talking about it. We'll just keep
Mm-hmm.
talking about it. And, are you seeing that more so in the professional sphere that readers are just like, I don't care, it makes me money?
Um, like B and C level, y'all. A level will say, "Don't fucking call me for 3 days. I am tired of hearing from you. You're slowing this down." Then he ain't calling me. You ain't leaving it alone either.
Yeah. Well, but if you know that a client is just going to turn around and go, okay, fine, I won't call you for 3 days, but I'm going to call these 79 other people,
Oh yeah.
one right after another. At that point, does it really make a difference?
Yeah, it does because
Okay.
I'm like I get really annoyed with clients when I say leave it alone, and they don't leave it alone. If anything, they keep having someone come in there and check on it and check on it and check on it. And I've told them, I says, if you want this result, stop it. Now, granted, networks hate when I tell them this. Do not make one more reading call. Not make one more phone call. Do not send another message. Do not post on a sympathy post on your Facebook of the love song that you know you two share.
Like, leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. Not now. Don't do it.
Right.
Back off. Take a nap.
Mm-hmm.
Find a hobby.
Yeah. Or two.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
but I mean, it is interesting because they're behind the psychic professional business model,
Mm-hmm.
and totally independent of it, which is even more frightening, is the functional network model, which keeps pushing this idea that you need a reading today, tomorrow, and the day after, and you should
And
call
next week.
twice.
Right.
Yeah, just keep calling. Just keep calling. Is a lot of the push
Right.
the networks are making.
It is.
And it is kind of this weird situation
Mm-hmm.
that I think sometimes gets the wrong idea that, like, no, we mean call for other things.
Yeah.
But no, don't keep like ringing the same bell over and over and over and over and over. Yeah, let it cook. Most definitely Google.
Yep.
But no, there is this very I think mixed message that people get, because for some people I think they call more about things they're kind of obsessed with, Speaking of
and
obsession.
I get that, and I work with that obsession normally in a very positive manner. But on the other side of that page, sometimes it's like, girl, do you want this man? Yeah, leave it alone. He doesn't exist. He's not on the planet till you let him fulfill his need to chase you.
Do you also think maybe some clients it's kind of like an opposites moment where they say they want the thing, they think they want the thing, but then
Mhm.
you watch them sit there and just literally do everything to avoid that?
Right.
So yeah, Brenda says, is he coming back? Is he coming back? Is he coming back?
And see, I've had to like retrain some clients, and and this is a lot of what real long-term professional. I have star clients, but I don't sit there and brag about it. Say, is my prediction doesn't change by the day, honey. If I say he's coming back unless you start making massive detours and changes in your path and ringing his phone up under private numbers after he's done blocked you. The card says he's coming back, he's coming back. I'm not arguing with it. And if I have to repeat that every day, I will repeat that every day. But we're not going to spend 5 hours on the phone checking his every move. I am not GPS.
What's he doing right now? Is he thinking of me? You should see him after one of these calls. I can tell you roughly where the questions go. Because it's not that he tells me about the reading. It's there becomes a point where you can.
And he freezes. We have got to figure out what this freeze is. He'll be back in a second. Tick tock, tickety tock.
Okay, because I'm. All right. So yeah, no, I have two questions there, but one of them is, like, are there situations? Is there ever a situation that someone needs a lot more readings? Like what? Like, is there ever a scenario?
It depends on what we're reading on.
Okay.
And I will give some clear examples. If you're making massive changes to a crisis situation, yeah, call me. We'll work through those massive changes. We'll work through that crisis situation piece by piece. When it comes to
So basically,
relationship,
it's got to start at go do this. Call me back.
Right.
Go do this. Call me back. Let me see if we need to do anything else.
Right.
That's kind of the mindset there.
Right.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to say, okay, you are at the verge of being homeless. We need you to call the bank. After you get off the bank, you need to call that lawyer. After you get it, like, that's not how this works. Wayne Dyer has a lovely quote of all you need to see is the next 20 feet to get from California to New York. You can drive across the country at night. All you need to do is see 20 feet in front of you. Psychic readings work that way, especially when we're in dire crisis situations. There are very few of those.
Yeah. Okay. But no, what I was saying before it broke up was like there's like you can listen to him sometimes have a call and know that he's going to sign out after this, but and from my side of it, I can usually work out exactly what question got asked. And it is the ones that do just kind of like, what is he doing? Is he thinking about me? What did he do today? I'm using he generically, she, they,
Right.
them. But is he thinking about me right now? Like, what is he thinking about? Does he dream about me? And you can just sit there and listen to his responses and it's like he's hanging up after this one, like he is signing out. I guarantee you he is signing out and he's gonna be mad. Oh, he's gonna be mad. He's
Right.
gonna be mad.
Right.
Because those are the like you do better with the phone book reading than
easy.
you do with these.
Well, it's easy for the phone book reading because it's like, okay, no, 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 no. Possibly, no, 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 no. Not really. No, 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 no. What I really like is a client to come in at the beginning of a situation. My preferred method is we read the situation to filth or to the next point when you need to have a reading with me. As in, you've reached some choice points, you've done some self work, shit's gotten real, you've handled it, and you've come, and now it's time for the next 20 feet. That's the clients I love.
Oh yeah. But the ones that are doing the check-in of, is he thinking about me? Does he talk about me? Does he do this about me?
Oh no, those aren't the only ones that drive me up a wall.
I know they're not the only ones. I'm just saying they're one that absolutely will ruin your night.
Well, there's ones that I, have lovely discovered that there are things in Second World that I can go beat up and it doesn't do anything. And that's the ones about, he likes Cindy's photo. Does he date her? No. He's like Julie's photos. Does he date her? No. He's added a lot of people on the Instagram. Does that mean anything? Is he dating all those women? The man has a job. He's raising a child. He has another child by another woman, and you're questioning if he's liking shit on Facebook or Instagram has any meaning behind it. Here's the simple answer. Fucking no.
Like, leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. Oh, so Google says those customers sound like the ones needing your help to plan a kidnapping.
I can never confirm, deny, or introduce anything about a kidnapping because I don't participate in illegal activities.
Yeah. But there are situations that do happen to people, like they end up in a sudden breakup that's had it, or a sudden divorce, and it's like, you need to do the following.
Right.
Go do this. Like, I'm going to tell you now, you need to pull your stuff together, and then you need to do the next part. Some of that is like, it's gonna make a difference in how the reading goes after you decide to do the first part.
Right.
And some of the parts done out of order, bad idea.
Right.
Like, no. If you sit here and take down the laundry list and you decide to pick off the parts that you think are easiest first, or the hardest parts first, that's not the same thing. That's not what you need to do. It's linear. It's not a laundry list.
Exactly. And the other thing is, you've got choice points, and those choice points affect the next steps. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that, well, the next step is X and Y and Z, but you go up to the let's imagine that we're all on an interstate called life, and you get to the light, and you knock your glasses off at the exit, and that causes you to make a choice, to choose the female lawyer that is newer but is hungry and will get you your money. And then your next choice point is, like, you have to make choices. I may be the psychic GPS to your life, but you've got to decide if you're going to take the interstate, the road with the toll, or the backcountry road.
So usually the shoot for is reasonable, relevant, and timely accurate.
Right.
So that's what you're shooting for with most psychics. If they start reading off a laundry list, that's not a good thing.
Right. Or they start telling you about other services, and you should have fuck that.
Oh no, that's especially bad. But I mean, if they're trying to go through and like list off every single choice you're going to be making in the next 6 months, that's not really how that usually plays out.
Right. Because you're going to go down, I'm going to turn left, you're going to turn right, and then it's like, well, crap. Now you're going to go marry this whole other person because you've already turned that road off.
Like, you shot right past it.
Exactly.
Or you get a lot of upset clients that are like, it didn't all turn out the way you said because and then you start to actually dig through, and I'm sure you would find, if you can very carefully keep up, but you would find the part where it's like, I told you not to do that, or I told you to do this.
Right. I've told you repetitively that you need to do X. X is the next step in the map. X is the next puzzle piece. You've yet to do X.
Mm-hmm.
Please go and do X so that you can get Y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or because you didn't do that,
Mm-hmm.
now it's a totally different thing.
Right.
Like that part was it's not the only important part, but it was an important part,
Mm-hmm.
and it needed to be done in a certain manner.
Right.
So since you said no to that,
Mm-hmm.
we now have to go back to the choose your own adventure
Mm-hmm.
and see what that just did.
Right.
I mean, it's almost like the ones that call in and go, am I going to end up with him? You tell them exactly what to do to end up with him, and then they go off and completely disregard that.
Mm-hmm.
And are like, my psychic said we're going to be together forever. It's
only if you do the relationship work and you know.
Well, but like, yeah, that would be one that like, no, that was nowhere on his list. I will guarantee you.
Right.
Nowhere did he say, hang up this phone, go call them and tell them your psychic says you're going to be with him forever.
I have told them they need to hang up the phone and go tell them to get off the fucking pot before. I have told them to go burn their shit. I have told them to get off the phone and call the person's mother.
Yeah, but never has it been
to
go call someone and tell them your psychic's sad.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be together forever.
Right.
Because that's going to quickly recalibrate your route. So Nancy says, Vinny Luco card reading skit on YouTube. My son does comedy, no disrespect.
Oh, cool. Very interesting. That's definitely a good thing. And that's something that a good reader has, is a good bit of comedy, because you're going to have to find it.
Well, in a respect for, like, other people doing, humor and stuff, because God knows you found enough humor. You create enough humor. While watching a movie that involves a psychic, an astrologer, a tarot reader, and the weird literary choices that are made to tell a story. And it's like, that is not how that works.
No.
At all.
Right.
Whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But now I understand why I've had a couple of clients that said or expected something different.
Well, I'm sometimes very slow to catch on to lingo.
Mm-hmm.
One of the lingo that popped up a couple years ago was POI.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm used to that from the detective world, and I'm like, are we tracking this person? Like, the first time I saw that,
like, you'd do okay if someone called for a relationship advice and or a is this the one, and went, so is this my unsub, or like, how do I find my unsub?
The POI, is this my, I have a POI, is this the one? And it took me like, person of interest. Okay. What's your badge number? And I think the poor woman about lost it.
Yeah, really. No doubt. Because, the first time I heard it, I was like, place of interest?
Right.
Point of inquiry?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it took me forever to get to person of interest. I did not get that.
See, ladies, this is the reason he needs to watch more true crime.
Yeah, it was a little bit slow for me to figure out the person of interest. It was like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I went through everything else I could think of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
All right, so let's hop into real witchcraft. This is going to be a fun one.
Oh, righty. Let's see. So, oh, yeah, there it is. So, flying ointment. Hey, I'm just getting into witchcraft and I'm interested in exceeding my spiritual practices, specifically in altered states of consciousness. I understand experienced crafters make their own ointments to get vivid and lucid dreams. As someone just starting out, I'm hoping to try it out before I start growing and making my own ointments. Where can I likely find one? Can I order online somewhere? Does it have to be under the counter or off the street? Anyone know shops in Southern California?
No. No, 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 and no. Bad witchy poo.
Oh, but there's so many links to one site.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think at some point you kind of have to embrace the yes, but don't do that. There's resources for that. That you can self do or order. There's always gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Like point blank, there's always gonna be. Yes, it exists. Please don't do that. If you are just starting out, which is what I understood, like, hi, I'm just getting into witchcraft. Literally what you said. Maybe don't do the thing that could unalive you first. Like, work up to it. Work with someone you trust. Get to a point that you are, or like you're daring.
Right.
Buku points for that. Slow it down. And start with, less likely to unalive you things, and until you can, build up a lot more experience and hopefully find someone that you trust if you are determined to do this. But find someone you can trust to help guide you through it. This is not a go do it on the internet.
Well, this is a
newbie.
You don't have enough experience in learning to A, your practice, B, your spiritualist, and C, if your first wanting is flying ointment, honey, I've got a scourge for you. Like, just go get your scourge. It's 33 licks on each shoulder. It'll get you the same vibrational high you're looking for.
Oh, well, there you go.
But no, I'm finding this in the psychic community and the witch community. A lot of new people are wanting to come in to get to altered consciousness, and I'm like,
that is not
well, you do this.
All right, so we're going to start with the tricycle, the big wheel, and then we're going to work up to the bicycle with training wheels. And then we're going to work up to taking off the training wheels. And then we're going to wait for you to get a license to ride a motorcycle. And you're going to work your way up to a CDL. Then, and only then, can you even consider that as a potential practice area. That's going to be where you're at. It's going to be hard to find someone, as it should be.
Yes.
Because this isn't even just a matter of, crawl before you walk. This is crawl before you try to, create nuclear fusion.
Exactly.
Just
for that.
Slow it down.
Slow it down. And you've got to have knowledge of herbs, especially like flying ointment, belladonna tea, all these altered conscious things. You need to have basic knowledge of herbals and what they should taste like and what the effect of is on the body. Like, I can have like 2 cups of Damiana tea and go to sleep and have a lovely night's rest. Joe could have the same 2 cups from the pot, and he might wake up 6 months from now.
Or I could be awake all night.
Yeah,
There's no telling with me.
right.
That's why we don't leave things randomly around the house. If he didn't realize that before, the fact that I really thought he was joking when he handed me a pot brownie. I thought he was being facetious. And then, oh dear sweet Jesus, he was not.
Yeah, my children make lovely baked goods.
Yeah. I don't want to know about that poor woman's life experiences, but Bill and Ted's mom apparently needs to be a little careful about what they leave around. Like, my God. I'm sure that was just like a light afternoon refreshment for them. For me, it was holy crap.
Right. But,
Because it was so chill, relaxed, like whatever.
Right.
It's a pot brownie. It's no big deal. She makes her own pot butter and then she does baked goods. And I don't know, I somehow took that a little less like, a OG stoner from like the 60s. She was at Free Will Love Woodstock. Yeah. No, she was at Woodstock and I don't know, got this recipe from like some really baked out hippie.
No, she's perfected it over the years. Thank you very much. You don't just do it once; you do it a few times.
I'm just saying. It was a level of overreach, like super reach, that I was not prepared for.
Well, I didn't
and
bring
the only thing
either.
Well, the only thing that I'm grateful for. It's because when I say a brownie, I'm talking about something that was like, I don't know, 1.5 inches by like 1 inch, 2 inches.
Yeah.
Little baby brownie, about that thick. About 3/4 of an inch thick. I'm glad it wasn't bigger or that there weren't multiple. I know you can't die. Like, there's only a handful of situations where you can die from like a pot overdose. That it's a virtual impossibility for most adults to ever get there. But I think I would have felt close. But is it gluten-free?
She's working on that formula. But anyhow.
Yeah, no. So anyway, he comes through the door like, here's a pot brownie. And I went, oh, okay. And I just kind of laughed it off, ate the brownie, thought he was kidding. No. Oh, my God. That was the longest night ever. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's like, so I, like, at this point, it's like, no, if I don't know where that came from, I'm, nope. So if y'all are wondering why, like, it takes a little bit for me to trust y'all if you have baked goods, this is why it takes me a little while to trust y'all for having baked goods. Because apparently they are baked goods. And I'm gonna, like, have my feet on the wrong feet. And it's not gonna be fun for me.
Like, but hilarious for me.
Oh yeah, he finds it hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm sitting over here like, I'm not built for this. Like, right. I understand me getting stoned is hilarious for other people. It's the same as when I get drunk. It's hilarious for other people. It's not for me. It is not. I don't have a good time.
I have an
Not having
enjoyable
a
time.
good
But this is also why he doesn't get any belladonna tea. He doesn't.
Oh, hell no.
No, he doesn't get belladonna tea. He doesn't get any infused anything. Like he gets the poor husband treatment.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't fuck with cheesecake in the fridge. Like, if I have to start figuring out what happened to the cheesecake, like, I'm going to commit a felony. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to commit a felony. You fuck with cheesecake. That's rude.
Honey, we are not going to make a cheesecake you can't have. And B, I don't store anything in the refrigerator you can't eat.
I'm just saying. I've been suspicious since the little brownie.
Well, first of all,
little tiny brownie.
The only person you're going to get cheesecake from is Brenda.
That's
fair. No one else makes cheesecake. Furthermore, I don't think that enriched butter will go well in cheesecake.
I mean, you could work it out in the crust, I guess, but come on, guys. Like,
now, granted, you could probably do an extract, take the extract and blend that into the cream cheese, and then use that.
Yeah. Brenda's giving assurances the cheesecake recipe will not change. Thank you. But no, this is why, like, no, I'm a little suspicious. It just seems rude to go, is your mother a pothead that infuses her own butter and made this shit? Or, like, what? No, thank you. I'm good. I just ate a little while ago. I'm great. Thank you, though. I really appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm at now.
Right.
Is it's like, trust no one. Except for Brenda. We trust.
Yeah. But, so again, practices that are used for, like, vision questing. I have never done the herbs for a vision quest. It's white something another. If I do it, I'll have to go out to Mexico to do it. But
well, there's like the ayahuasca, peyote. Anywhere close on that? Because I know we had one author who shared their experience, and that was crunchy. That was a choice one can make. I'll
you're gonna have to read this one. Like, this is not one of the marketed versions to do vision questing. This is the real shit.
Oh, the Sacred Datura.
Right. There you go.
Okay. So, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I like, and again, that starts getting into practices that aren't your own, and like, I'm not opposed to people exploring things outside of their heritage. Like, I'm kind of cool with that. I know that's not the most popular opinion, and it gets pulled all the time for cultural appropriation. There's a line between having a different experience and cultural appropriation. I think we've really got to. I'm waiting for that pendulum to swing.
Well,
and find the middle.
Let's address this because it's up into another post that was talking about Caucasian people learning hoodoo and voodoo. If they want to do the training and they want to study the reasons and all that, I'm totally fine with a Caucasian voodoo priest or priestess. However, have an issue when they just grab a book and read it.
Oh, well, and then claim it as their own.
Exactly.
That's the that should be the bigger issue with cultural appropriation. I think you can be respectful and step out of your own heritage line, The problem is most people aren't respectful.
Right.
And therein lies the problem. And it's kind of, I get it, but I'm waiting for the pendulum to swing the other way and find the middle, where it's like, okay, that's, we've done cultural appropriation. We have done calling everything cultural appropriation.
Right.
Let's get back to the middle where it's like, it's neither. Like, we call out cultural appropriation that is cultural appropriation, but we also acknowledge that a respectful difference of experience, that's okay too.
Right. And, there is a reason to get into a practice. There is a reason, like if if I was going to go and do doTERRA, Dream Quest, I would have to go and get some shamanistic practices and understandings, not only to understand what could go on and where things go on, but understand where and what is going to do. And there should be some respect behind that.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's get your Are You the Asshole together and figure out if you are.
All right. Am I the asshole for refusing to let someone check my phone after a coworker accused me of taking pictures of her? Throwaway account. So this happened at work. I, 18 male, was on my stuff normally, scrolling through my phone and watching YouTube videos, when a coworker, 17 female, suddenly accused me of taking pictures of her. That caught me off guard. I told her I hadn't taken any photos and that I was just watching videos on YouTube, but she didn't believe me and started getting louder and kind of annoying, drawing attention from nearby coworkers. She said that if I had nothing to hide, I should just show her my photos. Luckily, the manager was nearby and came over because of the commotion. We both explained our sides. The manager said that if I wasn't hiding anything, I could just show the last 2 pictures on my phone to clear it up quickly. But the thing is, that had a lot to hide that I didn't want to show. Nothing illegal, creepy, or weird, and definitely nothing involving her, but still private stuff that I didn't want anyone else seeing, so I refused. I told the manager I was willing to prove my innocence in other ways, but I didn't want to compromise my privacy. As a good faith gesture, I showed my phone's battery usage stats, which clearly showed I hadn't used the camera app recently. I also suggested to check the security footage. After reviewing the footage, it showed my phone was pointed at the ground the entire time, and the angle wouldn't have even allowed me to take a picture of her. So I was clear. Even so, a few of my coworkers later told me I should have just shown the photos because, quote, she had the right to know if she was harassed. I told them that the evidence proved my innocence and there was absolutely no need to show anything, especially not to her, someone who I've never trusted. So, the asshole.
Now,
I don't know what this even is. I mean, okay, one, I can definitely understand you may have things in your photo album that you don't want other people seeing. They're not illegal, creepy, blah, 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 blah. I get that. I'm totally on board with that. I can understand why that first off the bat is like, no, my camera roll is very personal. And I don't see why I should have to show you things that are personal of mine to prove to her that I wasn't doing the thing I wasn't doing.
Right.
So, but that kind of goes back to if there's video evidence that clearly shows there's no way in hell you were taking photos of her, then why is she starting shit to begin with? Like, well, I understand if I'm sitting here watching a video and I'm holding my phone like this, you could get the impression I'm taking photos of you. That's a straight line. if my phone is laying down?
Right.
How?
Right.
How? If I'm holding my phone like this, what am I taking photos of?
Right.
What am I taking photos of? Which sounds like exactly. So why are you starting a thing? Is it not proximate to this moment? Is it you thought, well, earlier he had his phone up like this and was, he could have been taking a photo.
Right.
Is that what you were trying to communicate? Or like, but thankfully you were able to establish other ways. Because I wasn't even following the whole camera or the battery usage thing, and then it clicked. It was like, oh yeah, I guess that would show. Good thinking. It didn't really. That wasn't a first one that popped through my head. But good thinking. But no, I don't think, like, I really hate that if you have nothing to hide. That's a really loaded statement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we all have stuff to hide. Let's just clear that up. We all have stuff to hide. It's not that anyone's trying to hide something because it's, well, obviously proves your point.
Mm-hmm.
Our lives and our devices are far more complex than the last 5 seconds of you.
Mm-hmm.
And to sit there, it's kind of like, let me go through your house to prove that, you don't have your blinds open to stare at me.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm sorry, you're going to go through my whole fucking house to prove that?
Right.
Like, no, you're not.
Right.
Like, sorry, I don't care how I look at that point. So my vote's not the asshole. I hate this has happened to you. I don't know what your coworker's malfunction is. And I, granted, it may not even necessarily be that. It may be that they've been in situations and have a specific sensitivity. But that's their issue to resolve with the world, not yours or anyone else's to go around proving that no one's taking photos of her.
Right.
And I mean, not to be exceptionally rude, but it's may not necessarily be harassment or illegal, even if you were.
Right.
Like, that's kind of the bigger point there.
Well, not only that, but that
There's this
maybe
idea of entitlement of controlling what others, that others take photos. You really have to consider your environment. Because that's not how the world works. Again, upskirting is wrong. That, like, let's be clear. Upskirt, down cleavage, hiding phones and cameras and whatnot in a bathroom is illegal and wrong. You should not do that. Inappropriate as fuck.
Right.
But your existence in a public space, your existence in a workplace, that can be a very legal photo. It depends upon the employer and what their policies are. And more to the point, it is kind of the problem of having devices and why so many employers end up being like, turn it off. Don't bring it in the building. Put it in your locker. Do not touch your device during working hours. Is because they, much like schools, do not want to deal with it.
Right.
Because this is the kind of, like, what did this take? 20, 30 minutes and you still have 2 pissed off employees? What manager wants to deal with this shit?
None of them.
And I'm not big, I'm not all, big employer, big business, whatever. And, but legitimately, like, no one wants to deal with this.
Right.
Like, this is a bunch of sniping back and forth, and it's like, just move on.
Yeah.
Like, I understand your right to privacy. I also know that's got to have been a manager that was sitting there like, just show me the last 2 photos in your photo rolling so I can move
Right.
on with my damn day.
Well, not only, but at the same time, do you want 2 cockpits? Like, here's what I was saying. Me, I'm a bitch. Yeah, here you go. Flip.
Not her unless there's something we don't know. Also, not her unless there's something we don't know.
Exactly.
And I mean, not to be rude, but
Could see it happening.
at that point, I'm not, well, I say not to be rude, but at that point, I'm going to be kind of rude about it.
Very.
Like, I would probably have been the one to go, well, here, good luck. Have fun with that. Never ask to see a gay man's photo roll.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Ever.
you're getting what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, I can't tell you what the last 2 things that are going to pop up are. Or
Right.
the last 3, or the last 4, or the last 5. It's good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck. Good luck. I would
fun with
suggest you have a
that.
therapist and put them on speed dial because I don't know what's coming up. I mean, seriously. Like,
Right.
it's the nature of the beast. Things happen. And I'd say more and more that's where a lot of us are. Like, if we were sincerely honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no telling what my last 2 photos were. Whether you use your phone daily or you only turn it on every once or twice a month or a year.
Right. Well, the last
There's no
2
telling.
photos are apparently of the fishing rod I got, and apparently my camera was still in my pocket taking photos when we were at the shop.
Oh, well, there you go.
I love that.
Just out of curiosity now. Okay. Yeah, nothing bad.
Right.
I mean, but it is one of those moments of like, that would be weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be a question like, why?
What?
What? I don't know. I took a picture of that.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
That's what I took a picture of.
Yeah, because I'm real bad, especially since it has no case anymore. Just throw it in my pocket. And apparently, I was quickly taking a picture of the rod because we were packing to leave when I got the fishing rod, and then threw it in my pocket.
Mm-hmm. You still need to get that out of the car, don't you? Or did you bring
Yes, I do. No, I haven't brought it in. I'm trying to figure out where to store it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Right.
All right. So I'm at Not the Asshole. You're at...
Not the Asshole should take more risk in employment.
Hey, there you go. All right. So the poll's up.
Poll is up. All right, let's take relationship advice, and then we will read the poll.
All right. So my daughter, 18 female, is dating a 51 male now for 2 months. How do you deal with this as a parent? Hello, I've debated posting this for the world to see, but I don't really know who to talk to about this situation. My teenage daughter, 18, has found herself a boyfriend who is 51. My husband and I do not support this at all, to the point where she moved out and is living with him now. He is older than both of us, and we are worried for her, but she and local authorities say it's none of our business now. Has anyone experienced this? How do you deal with this? On top of being an empty nester now, the way this all came to be was so sporadic and bizarre. I'm very depressed, and I just don't know how to just accept this. It's been 2 months since she left. Help, thoughts, advice, literally anything you can tell me about this would be greatly appreciated. Note, no one in our inner family even knows because I'm afraid to tell them.
None ya business.
I mean, I can kind of understand that for someone who is 18 to be dating someone who is 51,
Right.
that is a significant age gap relationship. I can understand, especially if they don't have a very long dating history,
Right.
why you might be concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Like totally get that. Totally get that. That there are situations that do happen in some age gap relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes age is just a number and it doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
So the problem here being is you and your husband don't support this at all. But now, after you have that explosion and you're 18-year-old adult,
Right.
when, yeah, I'm an 18-year-old adult, I can do whatever I want, and moved in with the 51-year-old male you did not want her with.
Right.
Anyone could have seen that one coming, or should have.
Right.
That's exactly how that's going to work out. Now you want to know
Mm-hmm.
more about this. One, I think it's too late for you to learn more about this. You kind of made your bed, so you're going to have to lie in it. The realities of that relationship could be anything from it's exactly as horrible or worse than you think,
Mm-hmm.
to this is a really great guy and they're both very lucky to be together. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. No one's
Or
going to
does it
know
matter?
except for the two of them.
Right.
So the fact that you've now decided to figure it out, which
Mm-hmm.
I kind of doubt that's really your motivation here is to actually figure it out.
No.
I think you're just trying to look for either confirmation it's as dangerous and horrible as you think it is,
Mm-hmm.
or just the affirmation you did the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got neither for you. I don't think you did the right thing. I think that, as uncomfortable as you may be with the age difference, like, I think starting at not supportive is
Mm-hmm.
tells me a lot about your parenting.
Right.
And it's not good things.
Right.
Just from the perspective of you weren't even willing to listen.
Right.
You then went to the extreme in which now you've effectively, like, she made the choice to move out, but you effectively made the choice to cut her off.
Right.
Like, you created that situation. And I hope it works out for her,
And it
because
may very well work out for
you're
her.
never going to see her again.
Right.
He is not going to trust you. You are not a resource for her.
Right.
You refuse to have an adult child relationship with your adult child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was her mistake to make, if that's what it is. You
Right.
try to tell her what you think about it. You can, ask questions when you don't blow up,
Right.
and forbid it.
Right.
You don't get to ask questions. You don't get to know
Right.
if that's what you do.
Exactly.
And that's going to be a really hard rebuild,
mm-hmm.
if there ever
If
is.
you get one. You see, and my advice here is shut up, back off, leave it alone. None your business. She is 18. She is not 12. She is not 13. She is not 15. She has apparently found something she enjoys with this man. You didn't care to find out.
Yep. You just decided it was bad and moved forward. And I'm sorry that wasn't supportive. And what I mean by that wasn't supportive is, I don't mean that if, this 3-time convicted felon with 14 ex-spouses and
Mhm.
4 of them are missing. I don't mean you're supposed to show up and be like, yes, honey, that's a great relationship. I really think you should pursue that. No. But you didn't get to ask any questions about him. You didn't get to meet him.
Right.
You didn't get to do any of the things that would have at least let you, instead of going the forbid it, because we don't support this at all,
Right.
route, you didn't get to go and have the real conversation she needed, which was, all right, well, tell me about him. Because, you know, there's this funny thing about people, they will often talk themselves right the hell out of a bad idea.
Right.
But the minute you show up and forbid it, let's see how much faster we can make the bad decision.
Right.
I'll guarantee you every time a parent has ever shown up in the way you did for your 18-year-old, they make the bad decision faster. That's all you get from that. They just do it faster.
Right.
And more balls to the wall, you know, off a cliff.
Right.
So you don't, I mean, hopefully at some point your daughter will, you know,
forgive you.
Maybe consider reopening communication with you and you can find out what it is.
Right.
I just really doesn't, I really hope it's not she has to come crawling back and you still act like the entitled asshole. Who's like, oh, geez, nah.
Right.
No, you didn't tell me anything. You forbade it and ran me off.
Exactly.
That's what you did. So own that. Learn from that. Don't do that again. That's
exactly.
Not if you want to actually be concerned about your child, not just have an argument.
Right.
Oh, so Nancy's last pick was Jamaican brown chicken. New recipe trying now with my son. Hope it's good. Awesome. Hope it is. So Brenda's last pictures are probably some bizarre meme.
Most likely. You know, and it's like nunyas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Day out.
Right.
Just saying, just don't do it.
Yeah. You know,
more to the point, like trying to, like, I really do try to be understanding of people who've had horrible experiences or have sincere concerns. But that doesn't come, like, proving one's innocence should not come with the having to embarrass oneself or show something too personal, too private to a third party who, quite frankly, do you trust them any more than the person accusing you?
Right.
You know,
right.
Because let's take for a second of the idea that what if it was pictures the dude got stoned on Friday night? Oh, now he has a choice between looking suspicious or getting fired, drug tested and fired.
Right.
Like, that's not a choice. That's not a choice. How do you decide that one?
Right.
I think you decided as, I'll take the suspicion for 1,000, Alex. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you have fun with it. Okay? And, you know, point blank, I would have thrown it at him and go look at it. But here's the thing. Whatever you see, you have no action. You didn't see it.
Well.
Right.
Like, we're not playing the game where you take things you see out of context that you should not have seen, that you had no right to see.
Yeah. All right, so the results are in. And 66% says, no, you're not the asshole. However, 33% believes you need to get the vinegar and pour it on your coworker because you are a dill pickle.
It is a dill pickle. I will give it that.
Yes.
All
right. So with that, we will be back Friday at 9 p.m.
Mhm.
But we want to thank the people to keep the lights on, the Google running, all the fun stuff going on around here.
Yeah, so of course we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owen, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, and Bella. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas
Receive, please visit PCSPnetwork.com. All right, guys, we will see you later. Bye, y'all.